Thank you. That's great. Let me welcome you all here for for Kol Nidre, for Yom Kippur services. I'm so happy that you are all here. As we begin this day that actually started last night. A couple things before we begin today is if you would want to make sure you have your prayer book, and just want to tell you that based on feedback from Rosh Hashanah, where we had the prayers on the screen, the feedback was that you all wanted to see each other's faces and have it and not so much of the screen, and therefore we created a prayer book. So I hope you're enjoying it. The prayer book is filled with poetry and all over it, and I encourage you to think of this time together as one big mindfulness practice, so that the whole idea is being present in your own bodies for this new moment, this new beginning of this new year. And however that works for you, whether or not you pray along with the words in the prayer book, or you pay attention to the words in your own soul and your own heart, make this work for you. So I want us to, before we begin, it is to, at the upper right-hand corner, there is a icon that says speaker view or gallery view. And when you put it on gallery view, it's like Hollywood squares, okay? And so you see all these faces, and I want you to just like use your imagination to feel like we are in a room together. Even though we're in these little boxes, we have gathered here together, each one of us from all over the world, to be together in this new moment. This group has never gathered before in this way. And so take a moment, a slow moment, and as you're on gallery view, you can see on the right-hand side of your screen that the screens are numbered, and just slowly go through the screens and to just look at each other's faces, and perhaps just, extend blessings to everyone that is here. And just knowing that everyone has had such a year, right? I think I would be safe to say this has been a year, right? So with compassion, even when you don't know the stories of everyone on all the screens, you can imagine that everyone does have a story. And I would even imagine, I'm say this for myself, that if I were to sit with you and know and hear your story, I would love you. I mean, it's something that I've learned my whole life. Like, everyone has a unique story, and getting to know a story is an opportunity to really understand each other. So in this unique time of pandemic, when we are all learning how to be together in very different ways than we have any experience of doing, this is a new way to come together. So we're going to begin. Let me just say also, we're going to go from 11:30 p. I'm in Pacific, 11:30 to 12:30. for the most part. And then from 12:30 to 1, we are going to have a Yizkor Memorial Service. I hope that you will stay for the memorial service, Yizkor, where we remember those who came before. Cantor Fran Chalin is going to join us for that and offer some beautiful music. And we're going and an amazing poetry, and we're going to do a special tribute to Ruth Bader Ginsburg. This morning, I am joined by my wonderful partner, Ter Lieberstein, the cantorial soloist, and all around amazing, beautiful human being who whose idea it was one day when she said, "Hey, we should do High Holidays." I'm like, okay. That was around 3 weeks ago. So Tara is going to be joining us. And I also want to say that there's several different people on our team here. Josh is here as a moderator, and so is Jim. They're both here to help you if you need help, as well as Marianne is on the team and you'll hear from her a little bit later, and Eli. And we'll be having some more participation during the Yizkor service. So let's open with a song that Ter is going to sing. The words are Hashivenu, which is let us return, which is what this season is about returning.
Hashivenu, Hashivenu, Adonai Elecha, Venashuva, Venashuva, Holiday, Holiday, Aleinu Kekeden, Hashivenu, Hashivenu, Adonai Elecha, Venashuva, Venashuva, Chadesh, Chadesh, Aleinu Kekeden.
So as we return to page 15, where we're blessing the space. I mean, how many of you have been on Zoom for months, right? So you're all, and so the idea, and as I sent this in the email to you when you signed up, the idea is to make this space, this High Holy Day space, sacred in a new way. And so together on page 15, and please, even though you're all muted, I hope that you are repeating and that you are participating in your own home, even if it's just you in your own home. So let's say together on page 15, how awesome is this body? How awesome is this place? How awesome is this journey through time and space? Ma Nora Hamakom Hazeh. How awesome is this place, an ordinary place that we make holy with our presence. And then as you did, we rolled through the screens, right? And we saw each other's faces. And so now we say a blessing to each other. Also on page 15, and you read with me. So many beautiful faces, so many radiant souls, shining forth into our hearts. Look at those eyes, the smiles, the hopes, the fears, the yearning, the questioning, the compassion, the love. Take it in. Take it all in. The tenderness, the humanity, the blessing of faces arrayed before you, the blessing of faces given and received. Amen. The primary teaching of this day of Yom Kippur is on compassion. And so I'm going to start with a chant that you may be familiar with it with. Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum V'Chanun, Erech Apayim V'Rav Chesed V'Emet, Notzer Chesed La'alafim, Nosei Avon V'Fesha, Pesha V'Chata, what I just chanted is what's known as Shalosh Esrei Midot Harachamim, the 13 attributes of compassion. And I want to share with you the context in which we first hear this verse. First of all, how many of you, by showing your hands, how many of you recognize that? It is chanted throughout the High Holy Days. You may know it in a different tune. The context for this is, this is the season of forgiveness, of apologizing, seeking forgiveness, giving forgiveness. And there are two stories in the Torah that represent this idea of where we've gone wrong and asking for forgiveness and being given forgiveness. The two stories are, one, the golden calf, which happens right after Mount Sinai. And Mount Sinai is not just the giving of the 10 Commandments, and it's not just giving of all of wisdom of Torah. What it really is, and if you can close read the text, it was actually a mystical experience of all the people, of the oneness of God. It was a time of thunder and lightning, and you could hear, you could see words and hear sound. Okay, it was all mixed up in the way that mystical experiences are. And what it was an experience of God as where everything fell away and there was only this feeling of oneness and connection. And then Moses goes back up on the mountain after receiving the 10 Commandments, the stones, the luchot, the tablets. And what do the people do? The people begin to create from the jewelry that they took from Egypt. They fashion a golden calf. And it's been postulated and feels very human to me, is that the idea of this enormous connection with oneness was impossible for the people to hold on to. And so they had come from years of experience of physical idols, of worshiping something that they could see. And you can see even in our own society, how easy it is to worship things. And so they built a golden calf. When God found out about it, God wanted to wipe all the people out and start over with the new people. They obviously don't get it. They can't hold on to this idea. So Moses comes down, and the way it is in the Torah is like, the parent who says, wait till your other parent comes home and sees what you did. It's like God says to Moses, and again, these are, not real people, okay, but metaphorically, you better go see what those people, your people did, okay, because I'm ready to destroy them. So Moses goes down and with the tablets and shatters the tablets, goes back and says to the people, I'm going to go back and plea for forgiveness. So Moses goes back and asks God for forgiveness. And God says, okay, I'm not going to destroy them. It's like, okay, it isn't a real direct, it's like, okay, I will cool my jets. And so Moses gets another set of tablets. But before he does, Moses needs some assurance of God's relationship. And so Moses makes this remarkable request of God. It's like, okay, I can't see you physically. I'm not going to go build something to remind me of you. However, I would like to behold your presence. Behold your presence. And so God tells Moses to go into a cleft in the rock and says, go into this rock because you can't see my face, and I will be revealed. It's like, you will know my name. This is important. You will know who I am. You will behold my presence in this way. So Moses goes into the rock, cleft of the rock, and here is what God says. Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum V'Chanun, Erech Apayim, V'Rav Chesed V'Emet, Noser Chesed La'alafim, Noser Avon V'Pesha V'Chata V'Nakeh. So God says, this is who I am. And let's look at the words. Let's look at the words. They are on page, what page are they on? They're on page 16 of your prayer book. The Adonai, Adonai, God, God. Adonai means it's a placeholder for the word of the great mystery, the oneness. Rachum v'chanun, compassionate and gracious. What you should know about the word rachamim in Judaism is that it comes from the Hebrew root of womb, W-O-M-B. Rachamim, compassion, is internal in the sense of womb-like. So compassionate and gracious. God is saying, this is how you know who I am, through compassion, through grace, chanun, slow to anger, erech apayim, abounding in love and truth, v'rav chesed ve'emet, who extends love to the thousandth generation, forgiving transgression, rebellion and sin, and granting pardon. Now, there's this remarkable passage in the Talmud. So after the Hebrew Bible, the remarkable passage in the Talmud where the rabbis imagine that God is wearing a talit. God is the prayer leader, that God has wrapped God's self in the talit. And the passage says that, and they're talking about these 13 attributes. This teaches that the Holy One wrapped God's self like in a talit, like a prayer leader, like Shliat Tzibur, and demonstrated to Moses the order of prayer. Meaning, this is the order of how you pray. So Moses called, this is how you know me. And God says to him, anytime that Israel, the people sin, let them perform before me this procedure and I will forgive them. Which is why the rabbis then, from that piece in Talmud, the rabbis then said, this is what we need to do because we are assured that we will be forgiven. We're going to insert this into the liturgy. My friend, Rabbi Nancy Flam from the Institute for Jewish Spirituality, has a beautiful piece where she notices a Hasidic commentary. You can imagine there's so many commentaries on these 13 attributes. She notices this, they notice that this order, the order of the prayer, Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum V'Chanun, God of compassion, that if we start with compassion, that is the key, that we begin with compassion. In the same way that I had you look around the room at all of the faces, knowing that there are stories behind all of our eyes, right, in our own life experiences. What would the world be like if we started with compassion, if we operated with compassion and grace and slow to anger? And so what I'd like you to do is to put your hand on your heart right now. You might close your eyes if you're comfortable. And send compassion to your own self. There's been so much suffering and violence and loss that it feels unbearable. Over 203,000 dead, people dying alone. Many of you here were not able to be at the bedsides of your families, your parents, your siblings, your children who are sick. The loss of not being able to be with grandchildren or friends. There are those of you who've been made to go back to work, even though you feel unsafe. The loss of income has been huge in so many ways that we can't even imagine. So yes, it has been such a year. So with your hand on your heart, as I call down these qualities, that may they go from my lips, which is just a channel from the mystery, right straight into your heart. Just take him in. Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum v'Chanun, Erech Apayim v'Rav Chesed v'Emet, Notzer Chesed la'alafim, Nosei avon v'pesha v'chata v'nakeh. Take a deep breath as Ter leads us in the Shema.
Shama Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
And if we could just take another moment and just imagine that we here, our group of 150 people, just imagining our sending compassion out to every corner of this country, of this world. Just take a moment and just to imagine. So we approach a section of the Yom Kippur liturgy that has to do with confessing all the ways that we have messed up, gone wrong. And I talked a little bit about this last night on Kol Nidre. But I want to share a teaching with you that I learned from my teacher, Rabbi Richard Levy. May he rest in peace. And I learned this teaching from him. Imagine this, okay? In rabbinic school, I went when I was 47. Our whole family sold our house, moved to Israel, etc. We go to Jerusalem for a year. We come back to Los Angeles, where our one of our schools was. And within the first 2 weeks, we're second-year rabbis. We've had 1 year. Second-year rabbis, we have a high holiday pulpit, which you can imagine we were absolutely terrified. absolutely terrified, inadequate, etc. And as part of our study, Rabbi Levy taught this that I want to share with you. And it has to do with how Judaism thinks about sin, the word sin. Is very different the way that Jews think about sin than the majority culture. Adin Steinsaltz says, despite the existence of so many definitions of an endless variety of sin, and despite the stern reproof voiced against sins and sinners, sin itself occupies an insignificant place in Jewish thought. An insignificant place in Jewish thought. Jews do not believe in original sin. In fact, one of the prayers that we say first thing in the morning is, I have a pure soul. We all have pure souls. We are born pure. So here's how Rabbi Levy explained the idea, which is you think about, and it's too bad I don't have a chalkboard, which you usually wouldn't have on Yom Kippur anyway, but so I'm just going to do it this way. Imagine that there is a path, okay, a path, a derech in Hebrew, a way. And this path is the way that we stay connected to each other. And how do we do that? By doing good deeds and kindnesses. That's the path, okay? So we're on the path. And the words for, well, let me say this, okay? And I learned this from my friend, Rabbi Toba Spitzer, which she shared that the word mitzvah, you know, we say is usually translated as commandment. But there's a Hasidic teaching that I love, which says that instead of the word mitzvah coming from the root of tzavot, litzavot, which is to command, the Hasidic teaching is that mitzvah comes from the Aramaic root of tzavta, which means to bind together, to connect. And so in this way of understanding, doing a mitzvah is something which connects us, Isn't that beautiful? So here's the deal. I'll go back to the path. All right. The path is made up of doing deeds, actions that connect us, not just thoughts. And all the words in Hebrew for sin, like chet, for example, they all have to do with going off the path, going off, veering off. So sin, chet, for example, is an archery term. It means you miss the mark. You shoot and you miss the mark. The other words for sin in Judaism, which you will hear throughout our prayers in a few moments, avon, chet, pesha, asham, translated as wrongdoing, sin, transgression, etc. All of those words have to do with avera, which means to go, to cross over, meaning you stop going the path, right? And you cross away. And so that is a completely different understanding of sin, of not as you're bad, but you got off the path. And how do we get back on the path of doing mitzvot? We do teshuvah, which is why the primary gesture of this season is to recognize and acknowledge how we have gotten off the path in various relationships, in commitments to ourselves, all the ways, all the promises that we've made to ourselves. And we veer off. But we believe in Judaism that the moment it occurs to you to come back on the path to return is the moment you are already returning. That flicker of consciousness that I have gone off the path, that flicker in you when you say, I hurt someone and I need to apologize, you are on your way back. In fact, the moment you say to yourself, I need to apologize, even before you verbalize it, you are already turned around. So in that context, we are going to go to page 17, starting with the Shamnu. And a Shamnu means, we are guilty. It is, if you notice, all of the Hebrew words are in, it's an acrostic. It is the alphabet of all the ways we've done wrong. A, B, C, okay, only in Hebrew, Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Daled, okay? And the reason it's in this acrostic is that all of the letters represent the totality, symbolically. We go through the whole alphabet and it symbolically means everything. And the way we're gonna do it right now, in the way that we do it, is that Ter is going to chant the first word and we repeat. So I'm going to be the repeater. So Ter is going to do Ashamnu. I'm going to repeat Ashamnu. And you in your homes, you repeat. And then we'll do the English. So let's begin.
Ay, 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 Ashamnu,
Ashamnu,
Bagadnu,
Bagadnu,
Gazalnu,
Gazalnu,
Dibarnu Dofi.
Ibarnu Dofi.
Ay, 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 ay,
Join
ay,
in,
ay,
everyone.
ay, ay, ay. Hey, Vinu,
Vinu,
Bahir Shanu,
Zahir Shanu,
Zadnu,
Adnu,
Hamasnu,
Amasnu,
Tafalnu Shaker.
Falnu Shakir.
Ay, 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 Ya'atznu
Snura,
Kizavnu,
Davnu,
Latznu,
Latsnu,
Maradnu,
Maradnu,
Nihatznu,
Niatsnu,
Sararnu,
Saranu,
Avinu,
Avinu,
Kashanu,
Ashanu,
Sararnu,
Sarnu,
Kishinu Orev.
Shinu Oref.
Ay, 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 Rashanu,
Ashanu,
Shichatnu,
Bihatnu,
Tiavnu,
Yavnu,
Tainu,
Ayinu,
Titanu.
Itanu. There are those of us who you can see, and I forgot to say this, stage direction is that in this prayer, as we do confessions, we, some people will pound over their heart. It's like a waking up. It's like, oh, you feel sorry. But I want to suggest a few other ways to do this. Again, thinking about what a year it has been, is that you can even hold your hand against your heart, okay? Or you can rub your heart with every confession, or you can gently knock at your heart. So I encourage you to experiment with these. And so I'm going to read the first part in English, and then Tara, you're going to read the second. And you all are going to be with Tara, okay? We're on page 17. We have acted wrongly, we've been untrue, and we have gained unlawfully and have defamed.
We have harmed others, and we have wrought injustice. We have transgressed, and we have hurt, and have told lies.
We have improperly advised, and we have covered up the truth, and we have laughed in scorn.
We have misused responsibility and have neglected others. We have stubbornly rebelled.
We have offended, we have perverted justice. We have stirred up enmity, and we have kept ourselves from change.
We have reached out to evil and have shamelessly corrupted and have treated others with disdain.
Yes, we have thrown ourselves off course, and we have tempted and misled.
Ve'al kulam Eloas lichot salach lanu mechalanu kaper lanu.
For all of these, God of forgiveness, grant us strength and fortitude. Bless our hands. One of the unique things about our Yom Kippur liturgy in doing the confessions is that we confess collectively, whether or not we have done the things that are written on the page. You might say, we say, I have stolen. You go, well, wait a minute, I'm not going to say that one because I didn't steal anything. It doesn't matter, because we say them collectively in recognizing that we are responsible for each other as a community and as human beings. And so we collectively. Now, this next prayer, I asked you in the, when you signed up, I asked for a list for you to anonymously say what your shortcomings were this year. Again, the language was not where did you sin, but where have you veered off the path? And I also asked, what have been your good deeds? Because this is a year that we need to focus as much on noticing the good. And so this next prayer is a collection of your words that you sent. It's very powerful. And again, whether or not it was yours that was sent, we will say this together. So I will read the first, and then Tara, you'll read the second, okay? And we are on page 18. And please join Tier, or you could actually follow after me too. In fact, you know what? I'm changing right now. You're you're gonna repeat after everyone, but you're gonna hear a different voice. First me, then Tier, but you're gonna repeat after everyone, just exactly as we would do if we were together in the same room. So page 18 at the top. I have numbed myself with food,
I
and
regularly,
I regularly talk with the homeless.
I've been unkind to myself when I needed kindness. I mourned the dead with all my heart. I learned from my mistakes. I was a rock for the people in my life.
I haven't always remembered to be grateful. I have sometimes been too sharp to others, particularly about politics. And I also check on my older neighbors. I spent time reviewing how I have spoken to others with the goal of being more kind.
Me'am kulam Eloi slichot salach lanu mechal lanu kaper lanu.
I have been impatient. I have let my boundaries be ignored. I've been stubborn when a compromise was easily available. I donated to every bail fund I came across during the height of the protests and continue to donate today. I taught kids dance for free when their parents couldn't play.
I've been harboring resentment against my mother and sister. I haven't done enough as an activist. I've made meals for my family throughout the pandemic. I brought shoes to my neighbors.
I have been self-centered when listening to others and reacted emotionally as if attacked. I have maintained good relations with my family. I have parented with much calm and grace under enormously stressful conditions.
Me'am kulam Eloi slichot salach lanu mechal lanu kaper lanu.
I have failed to withhold judgment of others. I have not used my voice to help others as much as I should have. And I've provided rides to older friends for medical procedures and appointments, and do errands and shoppings for those who can't leave their home. I look daily for small kindnesses I can perform.
I rushed through phone conversations because I had too many other things to do. I have withheld love where it was needed. I phone banked with a senior group to another state, giving residents the details on obtaining absentee ballots.
I lost my temper and I lost hope. I did not correct failings enough to meet my mission. I have not extended myself or voiced my truth out of self-doubt. I helped bullied children with my law case. I helped create a Jewish-Black partnership for our city's American Jewish Committee.
I reacted with angry words instead of taking a calm breath. I've lied by omission. I went to be with a friend in another state to be of extra support as she was moving her mom closer to home. Me'am kulam Eloi slichot salach lanu mechal lanu kaper lanu.
all together, let's read. For the sin we have sinned against you by not wearing a mask. For the sin we have sinned against you by not socially distancing. For the sin we have sinned against you by neglecting essential workers. And for the sin we have sinned against you by forgetting every soul is essential. And for all of them, O God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, help us atone. For the sin we have sinned against you by overlooking racism. For the sin we have sinned against you by ignoring police violence. For the sin we have sinned against you by letting inequality stand. And for the sin we have sinned against you by not using our power to help others. And I would add, and it's not on your sheet, for the sin we have sinned against you by not paying enough attention to our precious climate in all the different ways that we could.
Ve'al kulam Eloah slichot salach lanu machal lanu kaper lanu.
And please read with me together. And for all of them, O God of forgiveness, forgive us, pardon us, help us atone. Page 20, Avinu Malkeinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Chaneinu va'anenu, ki ein banu mashim. Asay imanu, tzedaka v'chesed. Asay imanu, tzedaka v'chesed, v'hoshienu. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Chaneinu v'aneinu, ki ein banu masim.
And as we turn to our prayer for healing, please write in the chat the people in your life that you're holding in your heart for healing. So many. Rabbi Menachem Mendel of Katz writes, he taught there is nothing so cold as a broken heart. Psalm 147, healer of the brokenhearted, binder of our wounds, counter of uncountable stars, you know who we are. Take all those names of all those that we know. There's so many, and all those who we don't know who are in pain and suffering and in great need of healing. And we say, Ana Elna Rafana La, please God, heal them.
El Narafanala, El Narafanala, El Narafanala, El Narafanala.
Thank you, Chair. And now we're going to hear from Marianne Malkoff with a few important words to share. And when Marianne is concluded, we are going to begin our Yizkor service, our memorial service. I'm looking for Fran. Good. Okay, Marianne, go ahead. The floor is yours.
Well, it wouldn't be a high holiday service without announcements from the Bema. So, do you feel the love? Wasn't today special? It would have been wonderful during any year, but this year, especially this year, we need what Rabbi Joe brings into our lives: love and peace, caring and connection. I want to thank all of you who have made donations in support of this Yom Kippur service and all of the remarkable gifts that Rabbi Jill has made available to us. 600 of us have joined together during these different services. It really has been just an amazing experience for us. If Tara hadn't had this idea just a few weeks ago, where would we have all worshiped that would have felt as wonderful as this has? Because we welcome all, Jewish and non-Jewish. We are here for one another. And if you're able, I know Rabbi Joe would appreciate your support with Path with Heart so that she can continue to be her outspoken, independent rabbi self. You'll find us to be a welcoming, inclusive, spiritual experience that opens up your heart. And there'll be a link afterwards if you would like to donate. Have you loved our holidays together? You are invited to join us in Rabbi Jill's Hineni community. Hineni is the Hebrew word that means, here I am. The purpose of our community is to practice being present in life. We're led by Rabbi Jill. We're inclusive and online mindfulness practice that includes teaching, live sessions, Friday afternoon Shabbat meditations, personal reflection exercises, marvelous guest speakers. And I will just say Rabbi Jill is wonderful, but one of her best skills is the ability to invite people to join us. And of course, all the courses. Rabbi Jill includes the poetry and the music she loves throughout. And that's one of the things that keep us coming back. So on Tuesday this week, open registration will begin for Hineni, and she'll send you an email on Tuesday that has all the details. Our deadline is going to be Sunday, October 4th. And you may say to yourself, wow, you guys are so welcoming. Why do you have a deadline for Hineni? And the reason is that we're on a path together. And as we complete our cycles, then at that point in time, we invite new people in again and we join together for the next cycle. So it's really important that you're here to really experience all of it. And there'll be times when you'll get emails from Rabbi Jill about other things that are coming up. So that'll be good whether or not you join with us. Let's see, and we're looking forward to a new year together. And with that, we never expected this year. We never expected to be together. We never planned on it, But I'll tell you, the love that we have felt for one another this year, really, I just want to bless all 600 of us who participated. And I want to thank you. And you know what, Rabbi Jill makes her all mushy and happy? When you guys send emails and let her know what you think of the service. Oh my goodness, you guys broke our hearts last night. I couldn't even tell you. So I just want to say, you guys are just the best, and we look forward to doing more things with you. If it isn't Hineni, we'll see you at classes. And of course, welcome to drop in and join us for Shabbat meditation too. We love you guys.
Thank you, Tara. Thank you. I want to say you didn't break our heart in a bad way. You broke our heart in a good way, like
In a good way.
open. Yeah. In that some of the emails that you sent about what parts of the service meant a lot to you. The other reason is, as Miriam was saying about our the deadline being next Sunday, I'll send you an email, is because Hineni is going to start, we're starting a new year next week. And so we're opening it up for registration, and then we will all begin together, which will be wonderful. So, and I do want to thank Tara and for your beautiful, soulful singing, and for Marianne, and for Josh, and for Jim and Lionel. I don't know if Lionel is here, and Eli, for helping make this happen. We're going to now move into the Yizkor service, which is our memorial service. And I want to introduce Cantor Fran Chalin. Where are you, Fran? Wait, I think I see you. Okay, there's Fran. Josh, do you see Fran? You gotta, I'm asking you to unmute, Fran, and so you have to unmute. It's not, it says that I'm asked to unmute. Can you see? Okay, good. Great, there's Fran. So Cantor Fran Chalin is a chaplain and a cantor, and just so excited to have her help with leading this Yizkor service, which is a memorial service where we remember people who came before us. We're going to start on page, we're going to start with a song that Tara is going to begin us off, called Rose in December.
You who gather here, crying silent tears, because you cannot talk to me, you can remember. I am here though I am gone, dust to dust, life goes on. Think of me, I will become a rose in December. If you remember, I'll be a rose. If you remember, I'll be a rose that blooms in December. In your thoughts and in your sight, I am eternal light. Hold the torch against the night, and you will remember. In the flame are many sparks, touching lives beyond the dark. By my deeds I've left my mark, a rose in December. If you remember, I'll be a rose. If you remember, I'll be a rose that blooms in December. So say the words that must be said, prayer for beloved dead. And as our precious tears are shed, we shall remember. Death and loss are what we pay for finding love along the way. Gift forever, sweet bouquet, a rose in December. If you remember, I'll be a rose. If you remember, I'll be a rose. If you remember, I'll be a rose that blooms in December.
So we're on page 21. I want to give you fair warning that we're going to be skipping around a bunch in the Yizkor service. And most of the music is not in your handout. So the poems are in your handout, but not the music. Page 21. Instructions for remembering. Remember the blessings of those who no longer walk this earth. Remember each name, each life story. Remember on behalf of those whose memory fails. Remember with love the sweet and the bittersweet. Remember with forgiveness the hurt and misunderstanding. Remember with insight so you might experience deeper meaning. Remember through the pain until you can touch the joy and find comfort. Remember through dreams left unfulfilled and choose one to fulfill. Remember through your heart. Remember through your actions. Remember through living with kindness, generosity, and forgiveness. Remember through those you love. Remember by planting memories and helping them take root in the living. Remember by opening your heart even if you thought it was closed forever. Remember to live your own life as a blessing. Remember to do all this. Remember, and you will be remembered. Remember. Fran is page 21. I think I may have muted.
I unmuted.
Okay, good.
So the translation for Zolzine is above remember, and it's full of a lot of what ifs. What if, what if, what if? And Yom Kippur calls us to now. Yom Kippur calls us to right now. And that's not easy. That's not easy. That's what this time together, this support together, is for to remind each other that it's now. Soll sein, als ich boi in der Luft meine Schlösser. Soll sein, als mein Gott ist im Ganzen nicht da. In Träum ist mir heller, Träum ist mir besser. In Holm der Himmel ist bleier von blau. In Träum ist mir heller, in Träum ist mir besser. In Holm der Himmel ist bleier von blau. Soll sein, als quält kein Mal zum Ziel, nicht der langen. Soll sein, als mein Schiff wird nicht kommen zum Breg. Mir geht nicht in dem, ich so haben der Gangen. Mir geht nur in Gang auf a sonnigen Weg. Mir geht nicht in dem, ich so haben der Gangen. Mir geht nur in Gang auf a sonnigen Weg. Ai, ai. Ai, ai, ai. Ai, 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 ai. In Träum ist mir heller, Träum ist mir besser. In Holm der Himmel ist bleier von blau. In Träum ist mir heller, Träum ist mir besser. In Holm der Himmel ist bleier von blau.
Page 23 is a poem that one of our Hineni members, Faith, sent me, which so perfect. The blessing you should not tell me, page 23. Do not tell me there will be a blessing in the breaking, that it will ever be a grace to wake into this life so altered, this world so without. Do not tell me of the blessing that will come in the absence. Do not tell me what does not kill me will make me strong, or that God will not send me more than I can bear. Do not tell me that this will make me more compassionate, more loving, more holy. Do not tell me that this will make me more grateful for what I had. Do not tell me I was lucky. Do not even tell me there will be a blessing. Give me instead the blessing of breathing with me. Give me instead the blessing of sitting with me when you cannot think of what to say. Give me instead the blessing of asking about him, how we met, or what I loved most about the life we have shared. Ask for a story or tell me one, because a story is finally the only place on earth he lives now. If you could know what grace lives in such a blessing, you would never cease to offer it. If you could glimpse the solace and sweetness that abide there, you would never wonder if there was a blessing you could give that would be better than this, the blessing of your own heart opened and beating with mine. Fran.
I'll be seeing you in all the old familiar places that this heart of mine embraces all day through. I'll be seeing you in every loving summer's day, in everything that's light and gay. I'll always think of you this way. I'll find you in the morning sun, and when the night is new, I'll be looking at the moon, but I'll still be seeing you.
Eli's gonna read a poem on page 22.
When great trees fall. When great trees fall, rocks on distant hills shudder. Lions hunker down in tall grasses, and even elephants lumber after safety. When great trees fall in forests, small things recoil into silence, their senses eroded by fear. When great souls die, the air around us becomes light, rare, sterile. We breathe briefly, our eyes briefly see with hurtful clarity. Our memory, suddenly sharpened, examines, gnaws on kind words unsaid, promised walks never taken. Great souls die, and our reality, down to them, takes leave of us. Our souls, dependent on their nurture, now shrink, wizened. Our minds, formed and informed by their radiance, fall away. We are not so much maddened as reduced to the unutterable ignorance of dark, cold caves. And when great souls die, after a period, peace blooms, slowly and always irregularly. Space is filled with a kind of soothing electric vibration. Our senses, restored, never to be the same, whisper to us, they existed. They existed. We can be and be better, for they existed. Maya Angelou.
You all know that Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg died on Erev Rosh Hashanah, the night before Rosh Hashanah. There's been something going around about that there is people that die right before the High Holy Days or during the High Holy Days are ones that are the most precious to God, and God hangs onto them until the last possible moment of the year. We're gonna see now a tribute to Ruth Bader Ginsburg by Rabbi Cantor Angela Buckdahl from Central Synagogue in New York, which, by the way, Eli grew up at. And by the way, that Eli and I were married by Rabbi Zimmerman when he was the rabbi at Central Synagogue. So Josh, if you would play.
All so deeply saddened to hear about the passing of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg last night, a real tzaddik, a woman of justice. I wanted to take a moment to acknowledge her by sharing a few words from her longtime friend and colleague, Justice Stephen Breyer. He said, I heard of Ruth's death while I was reciting the mourner's Kaddish at Rosh Hashanah services. I thought, a great justice, a woman of valor, a rock of righteousness, and my good, good friend. The world is a better place for her having lived in it. I received these words from Justice Breyer's daughter, Nell, my friend since college, who wrote me last night to say that she and her father were saying Kaddish with us at Central Synagogue last night when the U.S. Marshals called her father with the news. I was honored that they were praying with us, that we could be their community in this moment. We've certainly learned new ways to connect and be present for each other in these times. And we've learned that just because it's virtual doesn't mean it's not real. Even mitzvahs can be done virtually. When a Jew dies, there is a custom that a shomer, a protector, sits watch with a body, keeping it company and reciting psalms until she is laid to rest. Ruth Bader Ginsburg is not yet buried, but we can do the mitzvah of being her virtual shomrim. Let us now sit by her side and recite this psalm in watchful presence as we pray for God to watch over her soul before she is laid to rest in peace. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Hallelujah, El Kodsho, Hallelujah, Birkia Uzo, Hallelujah, Bigurota, Hallelujah, Berogula, Hallelujah, Beteka Shofar, Hallelujah, Benevel Bechinar, Hallelujah, 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 B'tov Machol, Hallelujah, B'minim Be'ugav, Hallelujah, B'tziltzilei Shama, Hallelujah, B'tziltzilei Trua, Kol HaShama, Tehallelujah, HaShama, Tehallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah,
Page 24. Marianne's going to read for us. Yeah, wow. Page 24.
Okay, well, I will share with you what we have all felt in our hearts this last week. You know, Rabbi Jill just recently lost her mother. And she said to me, you know, I chose this myself, but I can't get through it. And I have to say, as I have read through it, I can't get through it. And I buried my mother 18 years ago, so that our mothers are always with us. So this poem is from a mother to her girls. The morning you wake to bury me, you'll wonder what to wear. The sun may be shining, or maybe it will rain. It may be winter or not. You'll say to yourself, black. Aren't you supposed to wear black? Then you'll remember all the times we went together to buy clothes. The prom, homecoming, just another pair of jeans, another sweater, another pair of shoes. You'll remember how I loved to dress you, how beautiful you were in my eyes. The morning you wake to bury me, you will look in the mirror in disbelief. You will reach for some makeup or not, and you won't believe that this is the morning you will bury your mother. But it is. And as you gaze into that mirror, you will shed a tear or not. But look carefully, for hiding in your expression, you will find mine. You will see me in your eyes, in the way you laugh. You will feel me when you think of God and of strength and of love. Look into the mirror and you will see me in a look, or in the way you hold your mouth, or you stand a little bent, or maybe straight, but you will see me. So let me tell you one last time, before you dress, what to wear. Put on any old thing, black or red, skirt or pants. Despite what I have told you all these years, it really doesn't matter. Because as I told you all these years, you are beautiful the way you are. Dress yourself in honor and dignity. Dress yourself in confidence and self-love. Wear a sense of obligation to do this in this world, for you are one of the lucky ones, and there is so much to do, to fix. Take care of each other. Take care of your heart, of your soul. Talk to God. Sorry. Wear humility and compassion. When you wake to bury me, put a strong sense of self, courage, and understanding. I am sorry. Forgive me. I am sorry. Stand at my grave, clothed in a gown of forgiveness, dressed like an angel would be, showing compassion and unconditional love. For at that very moment, all that will be left of me is to give love. Love.
They are falling all around me. They are falling all around me. They are falling all around me. The strongest leaves of my tree. Every paper brings the news that every paper brings the news that every paper brings the news that the teachers of my sound, my song, are moving on. For death, it comes and rests so heavy. Death, it comes and rests so heavy. Death, it comes and rests so heavy. Your face I'll never see you anymore. Ah, but you're not really gonna leave me. No, you're not really going to leave me. No, you're not really going to leave me. It is your path I walk. It is your song I sing. It's the Lord I take on. It is your air I breathe. It's the record you set that makes me go on. It is your strength that helps me stay. You're not really going to leave me.
El Male Rachamim is on page 10. You could read with me the English, then Fran will chant the Hebrew. God, filled with mercy, dwelling in the heavens' heights, bring proper rest beneath the wings of your Shekhinah, amid the ranks of the holy and the pure, illuminating like the brilliance of the skies, the souls of our beloved and our blameless, who went to their eternal place of rest. May you, who are the source of mercy, shelter them beneath your wings eternally, and bind their souls among the living, that they may rest in peace. And let us say, Amen.
Amtei menucha lechona tachat kinfei השכינה למעלות קדושים וטהורים כזוהר הרקיע מזהירים לנשמות יקירנו וקדושנו שלחו לעולמם. ענן בעל הרחמים ועל הרחמים הסתירם בצל כנפיך לעולמים וצרור בצרור החיים את נשמתם. אדוני הוא נחלתם וינוחו בשלום על משכבם ונאמר
Well, before we say Kaddish, If you'd like to put the names of the people that you are remembering for Kaddish, please do so in the chat. So we stand on the shoulders of all who came before. I'm going to share my screen with you to recite Kaddish, because the Kaddish that you have in your prayer book is not complete. Can you see my screen with Kaddish? Great. So please rise if it's your custom to do so. Yikadal v'yikadash shmei Rabbah, bialma divra chirite, v'yamlich malchute, b'chayachon v'yomachon, v'chaye dekol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach leolam ameh amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitroman v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudashah v'yichu. Le'ela le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechamata da'amiran b'yama v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom, Aleinu ve'kol Yisrael ve'kol Yoshvei Tevel v'imru Amen. May the one who makes peace in the high heavens bring peace to all of us on earth. Let us say together, Amen. Fran's going to end with a closing song, but before she does so, I just want to send a blessing out to all of you. May you be blessed in your comings and your goings. May you be blessed in all your endeavors. May this be a year of peace, both in all of your personal lives, as well as in our lives in this country, in your country, around the world. We all need so much healing, and that will continue. It will continue after November. It will continue after January. It will probably be years of healing before we can heal the divides to create justice. And so we all really have never been so sure of how much we needed each other. We need each other's compassion. We need each other's strength. And when you're down, someone else can lift you up. And when you're lifted, you can help someone else who is down. This is my prayer for our community. So thank you so much for joining us for these holy days. It has been such an absolute joy. So Fran, you're going to end with a beautiful song.
And before I do, just everybody take a big old inhale and an exhale. Bum, 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 yeah, bum, ba-dum, yeah, bum, ba-dum. Listen more often to things than to beings. Listen more often to things than to beings. 'Tis the ancestors' breath when the fire's voice is heard. 'Tis the ancestors' breath in the voice of the water. Those who have died have never, never left. Dead are not under the earth. They are in the rustling trees. They are in the groaning woods. They are in the crying grass. They are in the moaning rocks. Dead are not under the earth. So listen more often to things than to beings. Listen more often to things than to beings. 'Tis the ancestors' breath and the fire's voice is heard. 'Tis the ancestors' breath in the voice of the water. Those who have died have never, never left. The dead have a pact with the living. They are in the woman's breast. They are in the wailing child. They are with us in the home. They are with us in the crowd. The dead have a pact with the living. So listen more often to things than to beings. Listen more often to things than to beings. 'Tis the ancestors when the fire's voices heard. 'Tis the ancestors' breath in the voice of the waters.
Thank you so much, Fran, Cantor Chalin. Thank you, Tara. Tara had to go to another service that she was leading with some of her senior groups up in Los Angeles. And I want to thank Marianne and Eli, who helps me in around 1 billion ways, too many ways to count. And I want to thank you to Josh for just helping so much during all these high holidays, and to Jim Nelson, the genius Jim, who makes everything that I do look so beautiful in print. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And to Lionel, and who has helped envision the spiritual community. This community has become the spiritual world that I always dreamed of, since it is the reason, I would have to say, why I went to rabbinic school. And I just thank you for all being part of it. Please look for an email from me on Tuesday about Hineni, and however you choose to participate. I just thank you from the bottom of my heart for being present here. Bye, everybody.